Hi, I'm Dr. Courtney Tracy, a licensed psychotherapist, and I'm here reacting to episodes 5 and 6 of Netflix limited series Queen Charlotte, A Bridgerton Story. Here we go.
I sometimes think our queen must be the loneliest woman in England. The queen is at all times surrounded by her ladies, of course, but footmen, horsemen, guardsmen, yet no man.
We can first think about how Queen Charlotte is in this class state in society. She has reached a certain level that's going to bring with it some level of isolation.
The Queen is not allowed to go to the modiste or the galleries or the eye shops. I cannot make friends. I must hold myself apart.
Loneliness is not the absence of people around you. Loneliness is the absence of connecting with the people around you. So many different forms of grief being shown.
Your Majesty.
Is he dead?
I have not heard anything, Your Majesty.
Watching Charlotte laying in her bed by herself, she is grieving the loss of someone who is still alive. When it comes to Violet, she is grieving someone who she deeply, deeply loved that is no longer alive. And when it comes to Agatha, she is grieving perhaps parts of herself that she once loved that were taken away by multiple experiences of likely having to detach and dissociate from her body, her mind. You can grieve yourself too throughout relationships and parts of yourself that you feel were removed because of the experiences that you had in relationships.
The one thing Her Majesty needs most cannot be conquered by any army.
Ugh, those torture sounds.
As it is in heaven. Amen.
You know, Nanny said the children are right to sleep.
That is true.
Agatha is reflecting on the fact that her children don't appear to be mourning significantly the loss of their father. Hearing that Lord Danbury only saw his children a few times a month.
Lord Danbury was a stranger to them. He only saw them a few times a month.
It makes sense that these children wouldn't be mourning in a similar way that Agatha just mentioned, because they didn't have as much exposure to their father. And therefore, I feel like their father may not have had too much of an influence on their identity.
What is that?
Port wine. It is awful, but it is Lord Danbury's favourite.
My lady.
I was 3 when my parents promised me.
Oof. That is a very intense statement. What's happening right now is when she sets down that port wine and says that she doesn't like it, but it was Lord Danbury's favorite, we have to understand that she has spent the majority of her life living for another human being and fusing with that human being's identity.
I was taught my favorite color was gold because his favorite color was gold.
So the loss of Lord Danbury for Agatha is not only a loss of an identity that she once held to be as true as she could make it to get through her life, but she's also now realizing that she has this opportunity to figure out who it is that she really would be and who she really identifies as outside of this relationship.
And as many times as I dreamed and imagined and hoped, I never thought what it would actually be like to have him be gone.
Because likely what would have happened if Agatha actually imagined what her life would be like, she would have found herself extremely conflicted. We saw many moments throughout this series where she was doing that to some degree. She was detached from the experiences that she was actually having. And if she would have taken that further to allow for deeper contemplation, it could have put her place in society and her security and her safety, along with her children, at risk.
Has he written?
I'm afraid not, Your Majesty. The Dowager Princess...
What does she want?
She arrives with Lord Bute.
She is with child.
She
done.
is pregnant.
Are you certain?
There can be no doubt.
Please. What? Just that... Well...
You know I could not... You know that my
Duty? I'm not able...
Much as I would love to stand here and help you find your words, I have my own duties to attend to.
Your Majesty, I have a letter. Charlotte.
No.
He loves her.
You're not ready.
And he loves power.
Do you require assistance? With the others?
Being exposed to this type of vicarious trauma, it's extremely damaging and overwhelming to the psyche.
You have visitors downstairs.
I am mourning. Send them away.
Yes, my lady, only it is Lord and Lady Smythe-Smith.
The Smythe-Smiths. Here.
It's almost like Agatha's ceiling are her scars. It's almost as though the memories of the experiences that she's had are on the outside instead of on her body, for example. Of course, her body is going to keep the score. Of course, her body has memory, and the traumatic experiences that she went through are embodied in her physical presence. And there are many, I wouldn't necessarily call them triggers, I would just call them cues or psychological scars that can be seen in her physical environment that remind her of the things that she's been through. And when someone is grieving the loss of someone that didn't treat them well, but that still was a part of their identity and their life, these types of memories that resurface the thoughts of the person that we've lost, this traumatic person that we've lost, can cause us to pause, can cause us to enter into this introspective reflection. And Agatha's in a really unique place right now. She's free and at the same time replaying in her mind all of the years that she wasn't.
We grieve.
He was a great man.
He was a champion.
We do grieve.
However,
You are a favorite of the Queen.
Surely the palace has given you some word on procedure.
I never thought we could lose it all in a generation.
Yes. What you lose, we lose.
What a difficult place for Lady Danbury to be in. She was just speaking about how her life was essentially taken away from her or decided for her when she was 3 years old. Now she's being asked to decide whether or not her 4-year-old son is now Lord Danbury.
And you have a son.
You are asking me if my 4-year-old son is now Lord Danbury.
This isn't necessarily a negative thing to pass on this type of inheritance onto your children. And it's still, in a way, a sense of freedom removed. And we saw that with Charlotte's experiences when she first became queen. And we see that with how George explains his upbringing, being essentially a royal from the moment he was born.
We've given them hope. A taste of rare air, the quality, the Danbury ball. They will not be able to let it go so easily. There will be scars.
You are sure he is receiving the letters?
I am delivering them, Your Majesty.
Is she still here? My skin is too light. Paint my skin darker, as it actually is.
No. Paint her skin lighter. Pale.
And this is much more of
His Majesty wants her to glow.
an overt battle between them. Why is the princess pushing as much as she's pushing now, and honestly making such a disgusting comment as make yourself look more white? But if I'm thinking about it, I think it's because Charlotte pushed more, and appropriately, as she should. I think she's becoming, and we can see that she's becoming more frustrated, as though her power as the queen isn't allowing her to get what it is that she wants, which is simply communication with her husband, with the man that she loves. And so with her heightened need to have control and to see this through and to be able to be making decisions for her life and for her partner, she has to have this pushback. And it's really not something that the princess likes. And I think that there's good reason and there's bad reason for that. The bad reason is obviously the racial conflict and the lack of racial equality that we see in society. And it makes sense that the princess has some degree of desire to control Charlotte, because Charlotte's in a really similar position as the princess once was, carrying the potential future king of the country.
She's writing to Duke Adolphus.
What? The Queen's brother in Germany? What for?
Because she cannot leave without a country to give a safe haven and a male protector.
Walking, my lady, but where?
Just walking.
What, like some tramp or poet?
I was not thinking.
Well, you shall do better tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
I will see you here tomorrow. Same time. You will wear better shoes. We can ramble together.
This is Princess Adelaide.
Pleased to meet your Royal Highness.
And Edward, this is Princess Victoria.
Pleasure to meet your Royal Highness.
Who are they?
You're betrothed.
Oh,
Betrothed?
she's made the choice.
They are strangers.
It is a masterpiece, is it not? And so large. We are friends. There is nothing you cannot share with me.
I do not know what you mean.
I do not know what I mean either.
My husband and I had a garden, and when he died, the garden died. Lately, without warning, the garden has begun to bloom.
Bloom?
It is blooming out of control.
Episode 5 is titled Gardens in Bloom. And I think that one of the concepts for us to consider is how this is occurring in multiple characters in this series. We see it happening with Agatha. She has lost her husband and she is starting to form what I believe to be a relationship with Lord Ledger. We all have a space for connection, love, compassion, companionship. And with Violet, she had this deep, loving, connective relationship from what it sounds with her husband. And now that her husband has passed, her body, brain, and mind are continuing to seek out those experiences. It's familiar, it's what she knows. But in the society that they live in today, it can be very shameful for women to have these types of feelings at all, or to even be considered as worthy of having these feelings be something that goes into a relationship.
Well?
Riding boots.
Solitude, my lady.
Solitude, Coral. Do you see that?
See what, Lady Danbury?
Like a tawny owl with a sprig of laurel in its beak.
Oh, I would have been here sooner, but it was a hard crossing.
Oh.
I still cannot keep food down.
I want to go home, Adolphus.
Home? Nonsense.
Nonsense? You shall take me home. Now.
Your body is not your own.
How complicated.
To leave the kingdom now would be treason. Kidnapping.
Sacrifice is important. Parents do it for their children, partners do it for other partners, and so on. Sacrificing your life, your body, your wellness should be an individual choice, and someone shouldn't be making that decision for you.
Your husband?
I would not place him in the category of things my life lacks. I am on my own, but life is out of reach. My birthday is next week, but what of it?
Aww.
It's been a fine day.
Carrying a future king is not easy. You have done your duty. You have conceived an heir. Now you are free.
First, let's talk about Brimsley and how difficult it can be to see someone that you care about suffering and feel as though you can't do anything about it. Charlotte has learned to live a life in solitude. She has also made the conscious choice to keep a lot of what's going on with the king within herself.
Is there something wrong, Charlotte?
No, of course not.
It's likely that if Brimsley were to have put his actual hand on Charlotte's shoulder, that she would have pushed him away, because her feeling what it is that she's feeling right now, yes, it's important to feel it because We don't want it stored in the body, and we don't necessarily want it residing in the brain with no processing. And at the same time, it's as though these feelings, they're not going to change the situation immediately. And she doesn't even know if they're going to change the situation at all.
I worry, Reynolds. I fear the Queen teeters on disaster.
You well know you are not allowed.
I am the king's man. I will see the king.
Go back to your quarters.
Stop this madness. Get him out of here at once.
I thought you might enjoy the exhibition more without the crowds.
Forget the whole matter. It was nonsense.
It was far from nonsense. And I will not forget.
Agatha.
What do we know of one another? Lady Whistledown never writes of our hearts. We are untold stories. Yesterday, you told me something of your story.
Yeah.
And I thank you.
And now you are the man of the family.
The man of the family?
Yes.
All right, then.
Wow, how difficult for such a young child. See these systems and patterns continue and continue.
You are. And you are Lord Danbury. And you will take your rightful place because you are entitled to it. You come from warriors.
Beautiful.
We win.
That was so beautiful to say. Basically, you inherit being a warrior. You inherit pushing through adversity. And at the same time, there's also psychological adversity. There's also him not feeling comfortable being around his mother and his father passing away and him taking on all of this responsibility as a 4-year-old child. There is a lot to consider. And I'm sure it's very difficult for individuals that are marginalized or discriminated against. These decisions are not easy, that there is a constant battle between how to move forward and how to acknowledge and repair the pain from the past that still lives in the present.
That one is too big for my head.
Your birthday just passed, Brains. This one is for a friend.
Your Majesty. To what do I owe the pleasure?
I am here to offer my official condolences, of course.
Your Majesty should be laying in, resting at home.
Home. That place is no home. I have left that place.
She's feeling.
And I am never, never going back.
She wants to live with Agatha?
She wants to stay.
Stay. What an honor.
No, not an honor. Terrifying.
Terrifying.
To discharge with the utmost care, sir.
I should have thought foremost among them would be not losing your queen.
My duties are to Her Majesty, not you.
Would you care to tell me what troubles you?
Very much. But I cannot. I have been lied to and betrayed by everyone in this country but
She's
you.
opening up, saying what she
You are my
can say
only
at
friend.
least.
And I have been acting as your subject. Not considering your feelings, making you into a crown, instead of letting you have your humanity. We need to start again. Because I very
This is
much
great.
need a friend too.
And this is so different than their last conversation.
This is not the life I wished for.
Where Agatha was under the assumption that Charlotte was too consumed with the king loving her that she couldn't see the privilege that she was afforded becoming the queen. And Agatha was also detached from her own emotions or lack of bond or connection when it came to her relationship with her husband. When we're forced to ignore difficulties that we have in our own lives, psychologically, mentally, interpersonally, professionally, whatever it is, it makes it so much easier for us to see the world through a lens that makes those things hidden in others as well.
Your long boyhood is over. In an hour, you will be a husband.
I know. But, Mother, I'm afraid
Afraid of what?
that I will not be able to love her.
Love is determination.
True.
Love is a choice one makes.
Okay.
You take someone in marriage and you choose to love them. You do not give yourself any other option.
That was beautiful. And obviously, I'm me. There's some things to be said. Everything that she said about love being a responsibility, being a choice, being something that you decide to do every day is so true.
Love is determination. Love is a choice one makes.
Especially when it comes to loving someone with serious mental illness, love really is a responsibility and a choice. And at the same time, there was this moment, and there are multiple moments where Charlotte and George are in love, where they see each other and see one another through love.
I'm afraid.
Afraid of what?
That I will not be able to love her.
I believe that what he meant was, I'm not connected with her and I don't know if I can be. And they haven't seen true connection between their parents because of the distance between Charlotte and George, and because of how it seemingly has progressed over the decades. Love doesn't appear to be connection. And that's not necessarily Charlotte or George's fault. It's the situation that they found themselves in and the responsibility that they decided was worth it to continue their relationship.
I was not sure when exactly your birthday was, but I did not want it to pass without celebration.
You know, they're very lucky no one is around.
I want to see him. Where is he?
No, Your Majesty would not want that.
Do not tell me what I want.
Like, you don't get to say. Yeah, exactly.
No, show me to him, or I shall have my men search the entire palace. Untie him! Untie the king!
How is this mental health treatment? How is this treatment of any kind? This is straight up torture. There is no way someone can benefit from having a hot metal pipe or stick, whatever the it was, being placed on their bodies to burn them.
Your Majesty must understand.
Horrible.
However distressing my methods are proven, I desire the king's sanity as fervently as your Majesty.
Proven in what way? In what way?
Happiness. I care for his soul. Let him be mad, if mad is what he needs. You are finished. Remove him from the ground.
Now, good for both of them. Not so good for other people that may be affected by what Agatha and Lord Ledger are doing. Oh, but she still has to look up at that. Okay, exactly. There you go. And not only that, but now you're also in a position of control, and maybe that feels better for you. All right, humans, let's head into episode 6. The finale of all of this. Here we go. Okay, no more treatments. No more ego fulfillment for you right now.
I cannot, as I am no longer His Majesty's doctor.
Damn right you're
Nonsense.
not.
Of course you are.
I have been dismissed.
Dismissed?
Agatha, I am contemplating starting anew.
Excellent.
Why, Violet Bridgerton?
I believe part of Agatha's ability to encourage Violet to find someone after the loss of her husband has a lot to do with the fact that Agatha afforded herself the ability to do the same.
Enjoy every moment.
When we start to heal ourselves, we give others permission to heal too. One person gave themselves permission to feel again, or to feel in the first place, and is therefore capable, or more capable, or at the moment capable of affording that to another individual.
Yeah.
She sees the hat.
Mother Nature is sharing her secrets.
Ooh.
Has anyone created a baby yet? Is there any fruit to show for all of my efforts on your behalf?
I think what Georgie is trying to say, Mother, is that
his brothers continue to fail in their duties as you have failed in yours.
Charlotte wasn't allowed to grieve her own life that was instantaneously taken away from her by the marriage to King George. Her detachment from the grief of her son who lost a child.
Sorrows, sorrows.
Makes sense, and it's also devastating. And I could put together a logical reason why based off of what I know, but I still find myself curious and would love if I could actually ask this character, older Queen Charlotte, why she holds back from saying something that I guess I'm assuming at this point, because it hasn't been explicitly said. Why is she not sharing that part of her deep concern to continue on and have an heir is because she wants George to be able to have an heir and have his lineage continue, even though he experiences serious mental illness. She still wants to be able to have him receive what he's always wanted, which is his own line to continue, for him to be known as a great king and not as a mad one. Okay, he's eating normal food
A
again.
meal and a bath must be a balm.
You should not have come. I do not want you here.
George.
Go back to Buckingham House, please.
I order you!
No. No, George.
Charlotte!
You cannot force me away. I will not go.
I command it, go!
I will stay! I command it! Perhaps you stay away from me because you care for me. Perhaps you stay away because you love me.
Charlotte, please, stop!
Is it because you do not believe that I could love you? I do.
I am a madman. No one wishes that!
George! I will stand with you between the heavens and the earth. I will tell you where you are. Do you love me?
I love you! This madness has been my secret my entire life. This darkness is my burden. You bring the light.
When will he come, our little king?
Soon. Very soon.
I love them. I feel this professionally, and I also feel this personally as someone who has experienced serious mental illness and who treats serious mental illness. When I am sitting in front of a human being that is considered to be my client, who is in the depths of addiction, in the depths of depression, in the depths of feeling so out of control of your body and your brain and your mind because of how anxious you feel or how out of control you feel your emotions or your anger can be, I see the human. And it's so incredibly beautiful to see a character such as Charlotte able to see the humanity behind George, even through how scary and overwhelming some of his symptoms can be. We also have to talk about the way that George feels about himself.
I am a madman.
That he lives with this deep internalized shame. He was taught that these symptoms and these behaviors were shameful, that they needed to be hidden away. And so because his behaviors and symptoms were deemed shameful, he internalized that shame. And he also internalized that fear. And it's scary for the people who love the person experiencing it. And it is so scary for the people experiencing it. And if we could truly find people to see us as humans through our struggle, our struggles would lessen.
He was kind.
He was joyful. I felt joy.
Then I'm glad for you.
Lord Ledger.
I'm Violet.
Oh, hello, Violet. What are you doing all the way out here?
Getting out of Mother's hair.
I wanted to thank you for your kindness.
All is well.
He has dismissed his doctor.
He has a new doctor.
Oh, that is good. What is his name?
I do not remember names. I am female.
The amount of statements that have been made in this series about women, they think too much, they read too much. Now they are people, a group of people who do not remember names. What?
And it is settled. I will let Parliament know he is available for an address.
This is,
We come on behalf of all of us, your children.
You represent the family, do you?
Georgie is grieving. His daughter is dead.
I am well aware.
Yet you have shown him not one moment of real kindness, no regard or compassion. Do you know how many babies I have lost before they were ready to be born?
I did not. You lost babies. But I ask a great deal of you because I know each one of you can rise to the occasion.
You do not know us.
You do not know us. And this is so true. If you even listen to the words that they just said to their mother about how they have lost children.
Do you know how many babies I have lost before they were ready to be born?
Charlotte's immediate response is,
I know this is a difficult task, but I ask a great deal of you because I know each one of you can rise to the occasion.
When you go immediately into justification for your own behaviors, you are turning the conversation back onto yourself and removing the people who want to be in the spotlight or the center of the conversation from the spotlight or the center of the conversation.
You do not learn about us. You do not care for what we care for. Our happiness is not your goal.
As your mother...
You have never been a mother.
I have been an excellent mother.
No. You have been our queen, but you have never really been our mother.
Vital to talk about. There are so many children around the world, and I'm even referencing adults here, who have had kings, queens, authority figures over their lives instead of parents. They have had dictators and authoritarians, and they were never given true love and understanding and compassion. And having these children be able to stand up to their mother, the queen, in this way is admirable. And we also have to acknowledge that Charlotte was once a child who lost her parents, who was then exchanged for sovereign protection and treated as a human body to house the future King of England. Because her hands were tied behind her back in many ways, including in the way where she had to show up as the queen because the king in many instances couldn't show up as the king, she let George be George, so much so that she stopped allowing herself to be Charlotte. And when she stopped allowing herself to be Charlotte, she in a way reduced her ability to be a mother and increased her ability to be the queen. It is unfortunate on every level, and each human being sees it from a different perspective through a different lens of suffering. And as much as each individual can and should take accountability for their actions and the pain that has caused themselves and other people, we also deserve to afford understanding and to look into the causes of the behavior to see whether or not we are placing value and moral-based judgments on people who perhaps only had so many limited choices to move forward in their life.
George, you received a letter. Where is it?
Here. From Princess Augusta.
My mother is writing me.
His Majesty has good days and down days.
He did. Now that I am here, his days are good. All he needed was his wife,
optimistic.
the routine, and to get rid of that dreadful doctor. He is well.
Charlotte's also functioning through the lens of optimism, as she should. Things are going well now, and she is providing George some of the things that he needs. He needed connection, he needed stability, and he needed to remove a large amount of the trauma that he was experiencing that the doctor was calling treatment. All of these things are true. And Reynolds advocating for the reality of George's symptoms is important. There are people who want to believe that they will be better forever. There are people who are more realistic and understand that episodes come and go. And then there's people like the doctor who think that if someone experiences one or even more episodes of psychosis or mania or severe depression, that they must be permanently tortured until those symptoms are alleviated.
I am so glad that you met Lord Danbury, the new Lord Danbury.
Did I?
As it is a fact that my son will inherit his father's title...
Is it?
Is it not?
Whether or not the great experiment will go on past this generation is something only His Majesty can determine.
Or you could give Princess Augusta the smallest of details.
The amount
Pears.
of ways
Can I
that
actually
these
ask for
people
pears
play
while she's
chess
here?
with their words in this series
I've promised the Queen friendship.
is incredible.
If you are friends, Perhaps you could ask Her Majesty to intervene.
I cannot do anything that might cause her upset or worry.
She has enough of that as it is.
What does that mean?
Well, there are the rumours to consider.
Rumours?
Well, I'm hearing that the palace stands not on firm ground, that the king is ill or injured, or, well, there is something amiss with the king.
So awkward. It takes some serious composure.
I am here now.
George is not available now.
Does he know I am here?
He is occupied.
I may be forced to worry that you are holding the king against his will, which would be...
Treason.
Yes, it could be considered treason. You carry just one king in your womb. The other king, George, I carried that king. And while your little king can hide out cozy and warm in the embrace of your belly, my king cannot. There is no room for illness or weakness. There is only power. You cannot allow him to hide. His crown will not survive. The government is growing restless and suspicious. George must face Parliament.
She's not wrong. People have duties and responsibilities, and listen, if they don't want them, they don't have to have them. And I don't know if George necessarily doesn't want to have them.
Can a king rule in his own way through practical scientific study?
He feels as though he can't because of how unstable he is. And of course, everyone around him feels the same way. It was a good thing that Charlotte could hear what the princess was saying. Charlotte has the ability to tap into a really balanced understanding of what is going on in any given situation. So as much as George should be permitted to simply live the life that he wants to live, he does also hold a responsibility to other people in the same way that Charlotte holds the responsibility to her people that she reigns over, that she represents. He may not be able to act in his position as well as Charlotte is able to because of his condition, but Charlotte is able to understand the importance of what lives within her as responsibility also lives within George. So let's see what happens next.
Charlotte.
He's so happy. He's so much happier.
I do not want to see her.
I know. I sent her away.
The most ungrateful, whining children. How dare they speak to me that way? A better life they could not have asked for. I was a most extraordinary mother.
You are the greatest of queens, yet you share one trait in common with all of the people here in the palace. You serve one person, the king. That is not a flaw, it is a gift.
Have you any family?
This is the first time she
you never
asks
marry?
that after all these years.
No, Your Majesty. Who could I ever find who would be free to spend a lifetime with me?
It has been life at Kew. It has not been without discomforts. Is there anything I can do?
Asking how to support a friend that's grieving.
This. Spending time with a friend helps.
This was a kind thing for Agatha to do. Obviously, there was something that Charlotte could do. Charlotte could have said, yes, I will give your son the title of Lord Danbury safely and securely and permanently. Agatha doesn't ask that because she understands that Charlotte might be going through something that's really intense in her own personal life. And sometimes friends do still need to reach out and ask for support from other friends that they know are suffering. And it's important for that friend, if that friend was going through too much difficult times in their life, for them to set an appropriate boundary.
Was there ever anyone else for you? After Lord Danbury, did you ever want to marry again? Or did you ever want to take a lover?
She's trying to figure out if
wanted to feel
Agatha was with her dad.
So there was someone after Lord Danbury.
Coral, I have solved my problem.
You asked Her Majesty. She will secure the title.
No, I spoke to the Queen's brother.
Prince Adolphus.
He would like to court me. I said yes. I shall marry him.
He is German.
I can feel you watching me.
I like watching you.
You make it more difficult for me to write. This is important. It might be best if we left the distractions for another time.
George.
It is coming.
Now?
Right now?
Reynolds!
Maybe he won't have to give the speech.
Your Majesty, she's asking for you.
Stay.
I am here, whatever comes and whatever you need.
Oh, the baby. He is...
The baby king!
He is magnificent.
Oh, the demand of correspondence from allies and well-wishers from Parliament must be daunting.
Agatha?
You know, I'm sure that that's not easy for Agatha to pretend again that she doesn't feel a certain way that she feels. She had to do that with her late husband, Lord Danbury, and now she has to act like a human being that doesn't have feelings again when it comes to her feelings for Lord Ledger.
Is my son to be Lord Danbury?
As I told you before, that is a decision only His Majesty can make. Would it not be a shame for you to lose the very fine estate in which you now reside?
Yeah, you're threatening to take away all of her basic needs and anything that would
Hush.
make her and her children secure.
Stop it. Stop it.
And you want her to not
Do
feel any
not do
emotion
that.
about it.
Have
Oh,
brandy.
alcohol.
I have it shipped in from Germany. Now drink. And cease from crying this instant, please. When my dear husband died, I had to throw myself on the mercy of his father, the king. A cruel, evil man. He was vicious with Georgie. The bruises.
Oh.
I had bruises as well. There were no other options. I secured my son as king. I found a way to control my own fate. I do not like you. However, you have been an admirable adversary thus far. You may not quit. Cover your bruises and endure.
Cover your bruises
Do not
and
lose
endure.
control of your fate, Agatha.
I believe that news depends on what is to become of my son's title, Your Highness.
Okay, Agatha. It sounds like what is trying to be passed on from the princess to Agatha is a concept of resilience. And as much as we should not have to persevere through extremely difficult experiences and situations that we find ourselves in, what we do have to do is take responsibility enough to develop enough resilience to accomplish what it is that we want in life, regardless of what we've been through. Now, I would not be a good mental health clinician if I thought that the reason why people didn't move forward after they've been through adverse situations is simply because they didn't allow themselves to. There are a lot of barriers that can be in the way, both internally and externally, when it comes to someone coming out of really detrimental situations. And there is still always needing to be that piece of willingness, that piece of resilience, that piece of saying, I've been through this and I'm still going to push forward because I deserve it.
I was with the baby.
He's already
I'm not
shaking.
late. There's plenty of time. Was it?
So what
Did his
happened?
Speech not go well?
His Majesty did not deliver a speech. He never got out of the carriage.
He never
What do you mean he never got out?
Under the bed. That makes so much sense.
Tell me.
I could not get out of the carriage. I could not even read the words on the page. You can leave me. I would understand, and I would let you go.
George, I will not leave you.
You should.
I will not.
You have half a husband, Charlotte.
If what we have is half, then we shall make it the very best half. I love you.
It is so sad to hear George talking about himself as half a man and half a king. And perceptually, it makes sense that he feels that way about himself. There may be half of his life where he feels completely out of control. And it's also okay for Charlotte to say, if we have half, then we're going to make it the best half that we can. Love looks different for every person. And this is such a beautiful beautiful example of somebody loving someone that can't give them everything that they need, and that can't give themselves everything that they need, and that Charlotte can't give everything to George either. Her accepting that she doesn't quite know what's wrong, but what she can do is stay by his side.
I fear it will overtake my crown.
If the crown cannot go to Parliament, we shall bring Parliament to the crown.
Would you consider returning home with me as my wife?
I
know.
What
It is quite
decision are
soon.
you going to make?
You're barely out of mourning. We have only just begun to court, but...
They are throwing a ball to introduce the new prince.
A ball? Ah, yes, that. It is a lovely idea.
I do not believe you had any knowledge of a ball.
I had knowledge.
Ich diene der Königin. That means I serve the Queen. You would be a queen. Never know a moment's worry when you're royal.
Stop talking, Coral.
Ramsay is odious, but it is a very nice portrait.
A portrait for which I did not even sit. Look at you. You are a rare jewel.
Now,
okay.
Let us smile and wave. Ready?
Keep your eyes on her. Focus on her holding your hand.
You and me.
I love him.
We thank you all for joining us to celebrate the arrival of our new prince.
You dislike crowds as much as I do. Another way we're a match. And it is good that you are young. It means you can have more children.
More children.
Agatha,
Change
I
your
will raise the Danbury
language.
children as my own.
Use
I
your
will care
body.
for them as I do you. But I must have an heir.
Let me take care of you.
Perhaps 2 or 3.
Instead of
Two
you
or
being
three,
able to
yes.
have agency
You
for
can
yourself.
travel with me.
No.
Yes.
Perhaps I am making a terrible mistake.
Maybe.
But it is mine to make.
Exactly.
I have only ever wanted him to be happy.
He is happy.
You make him happy. Thank you.
Oh, I love seeing them dancing too.
Are you quite sure? Yes, Your Majesty. I waited for quite some time so there would be no doubt.
You will have your heir, Mother.
Please, accept my apology. Tell me what I might do in order to...
Adolphus will survive. What concerns me is what I am to do with you. The fact that you did not come to me with your concerns, your fears regarding your inheritance, your title. You tell me my castle walls are too high. I tell you they must be. High as the sky, if necessary, to protect you. To protect all our worthy subjects.
Oh, those are my birthday hats. I believe I may have told you about them.
Oh,
Yes,
wow. She
you
has
did.
not let it go.
Your father made them for you. I believe you should leave the hats where they are. They are lovely. As you say, cheerful.
Oh, okay. So yes, episodes still continue.
George.
Do not bother me.
Late adulthood.
In the sky.
George, it is me. It is your Charlotte.
Oh.
Just George. Farmer George.
Farmer George.
George, we have succeeded. Our son, Edward, he has married and his wife is with child.
Edward is going to be a father.
Yes.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did not go over the wall.
No, George.
Okay. Well, now that just completely broke me in the best possible way, I think I just close it out with a message that I'm pretty sure this series was trying to leave us with. And it's the message that it's possible to not give up on people, even if they experience really intense mental health conditions, even if they are seemingly incapable of providing you everything that they would want to. The fact that they want to and that they'll do what they can matters, and that it's possible to love in this way, and it's possible to be loved in this way, and that sometimes it's worth it, and sometimes it's okay to live a life differently than people would expect you to, and that you're still a person that can be seen beneath your symptoms, and that you get to make the choices that you want to make in life and the decisions that you want to make in life. We each deserve connection, and we each deserve love, and we each deserve to be seen as a human being. We deserve to exist how we exist in the best way that we possibly can, and to not live a life of loneliness as often as possible. I absolutely loved this series. What did I miss? What stood out to you? What did you learn? I'd love to know. I'm really excited to start our new series next Thursday. And as always, whether you have serious mental illness, are taking care of people who have serious mental illness, struggle mentally yourself, feel like you're in a great place right now, or feel like you are about to hit rock bottom, I am so glad that each and every one of you exists. See you next week.